Slipping and sliding to a much-needed W? However, where every week is the Super Bowl for your team, should we not make more of a statement? Maybe we can make that against the winless Browns as we finish our AFC tour this season next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Hey Packers fans, this is your unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, and these are the podcasters you're looking for. One of these guys was once a club DJ in a country saloon, and the other guy gave up his seats on the 20-yard line so 12,000 more fans could enjoy the game live. And now it's time to Go Pack Go with your hosts, Wayne Henderson and Troy Heinritz.
Oh yeah, thanks for joining us on your Packers Fan Podcast. It is the show by and for fans of your 13-time NFL champion, Green Bay Packers. Call us. We love to hear your voice. Area code 920-3PACK-GO. That's 920-3PACK-GO. Or, again, you can always just go to PackersFanPodcast.com/feedback to get in your feedback. This time around, it's episode 148 of your Packers Fan Podcast, December 6th, 2017. This year is winding down, but either way, we will have the show notes at PackersFanPodcast.com/148.
And it's a Victory Wednesday here in Packer Nation. Woo!
Oh yeah!
We're going to talk about that W because a W is a W any way you slip, slide, or slice it. And the football playoff gods were smiling on us there at 1265 Lombardi Avenue just as AR-12 returns. Coincidence? I think not.
I'm getting giddy, Troy. Giddy.
Plus, we'll talk about what's in store for the future of the Super Bowl. And did you get your owner memo about Roger Goodell? I didn't.
Me neither. That's too bad.
We'll cover it, though. We'll cover it.
Then I don't need the dang memo. We're also going to talk about the latest injury news and transactions, some interesting storylines for this week's game, sharing a few from the official Packers dope sheet for Packers at Browns, and what are the keys to victory for the Packers in Cleveland? Troy will tell you. And of course, we've got your G-Force feedback. And me, I'm at Wayne Henderson, your voice acting, podcasting part owner of the 13-time NFL champion, Green Bay Packers.
And lunging my way to a victory as I finally got a buyer for my old house, I am at Troy Heinritz, your gold ticket package holding and part owner of the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers.
That's
soon
like
to be 14.
Very soon to be 14. That's like an early Christmas gift for you. Congratulations.
Yes, just as long as everything goes through, we'll be good to go. Because it's always fun to own two homes, just not 7 minutes apart from each other.
Or having two home payments.
Exactly right. Exactly right. The Packers Fan Podcast app is available on demand and on the go. You can get that for iOS and for Android this holiday season. What a great way to listen to the final 4 games of the 2017 campaign.
Absolutely. I love the app that we were able to get about a year and a half ago. It's the easiest way to consume the show. And again, iOS and Android, the Packers Fan Podcast app, free, totally free.
You know who else is free?
Who?
Dean Lowry. Free to run, the big man all the way down the field.
That was amazing. And I was surprised how fast he was running, and nobody was near catching him. And, well, maybe not the best Lambeau leap ever, but, man, we needed that.
Oh, my gosh. When you think about time of possession for this football game and how horrible it was for the Packers, especially with those 9 plays on 9 yards in the start of the second half. I mean, this is the kind of way you have to win football games. If your offense isn't going to put up, then you need a defensive stop, you need a defensive turnover, you need a defensive touchdown, and we got all 3 of those in this game. So kudos to the defense, even though they still gave up almost 400 yards.
But they did just enough to help us get that victory.
Just enough. The linebackers are really great in this game. Now, remember, though, I mean, everybody's all like, 7 sacks, woohoo! But remember, this is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their offensive line is not that good.
And Jameis Winston, his hands are all slippery because he keeps sticking them in his mouth, pulling out W's.
I know.
That was the weirdest thing I've seen all year.
But let's talk about Brent Hundley. Now, Brent Hundley was the focus of course, the Packers offense because we lost one AR-12. I think what everybody has missed out on is the fact that we had 200 yards rushing on the ground. in this football contest. 2 hundo. That's never happened. I think since like, I don't know, I'm on green maybe.
Now, was a large chunk of that from Brett Hundley?
No, well, part of that was from Brett Hundley, yes, using his legs. And I really liked that kind of a read option that he had going on there. It almost reminded me of one Russell Wilson and the way he used to torch us in Seattle a few times. So I don't know why we haven't been running that more in the last few weeks, because I think we could have totally done some damage.
Yeah, because the passing wasn't there.
That's for sure. But Jamal Williams, I mean, I know I was big on Aaron Jones at the start of in the preseason, and Aaron Jones was coming to life before the injury, and I thought Jamal Williams is kind of but man, oh man, is this guy a workhorse? He is taking his opportunity and letting it shine. That I definitely think Jamal is your first, second, third down, your first and second down back, and then Aaron Jones can come in for third down to spell, to have the fresh legs, because the two of these guys together, it's like eating Thanksgiving pie.
It was dynamic, and Jamal Williams running with purpose. It was like, get out of my way, here I come, touchdowns and just first downs. It was a great thing to see, and I don't know why he wasn't able to do that all season, but the injuries really slowed down our running game, and having both of them healthy at the same time, we're going to need it this week.
Yeah, we definitely are. Especially, I want to call out Ripkowski, because that Williams first touchdown from the 1 yard line, the way that Ripkowski came over for that fullback block to make the seam, I mean, that is why Ripkowski should be on the field every single time we're running the football, because he just has the perfect timing to seal it right when it needs to happen. So kudos to Rip for the great block on that first touchdown for Williams on the game. I mean, this was just fun to watch in the first half. And then you go, I don't know what the bleep just happened in the second half. It's like they went to the locker room and, I don't know, drank, had too much cake. Were you as perplexed as I was? I mean, granted, they didn't have the greatest field position on the second possession of the second half, but still 3 and out, 9 yards.
Yeah, and
you got to scratch your head.
I was definitely scratching my head, because I wasn't sure if some of it was, play calling, heaven forbid if we get back into the, prevent defense when we don't even have that much of an offense happening. Going into overtime, I was a little bit nervous, like, wow, I don't know what we had going on in the first half went. And then, of course, once overtime hit, bam, we were just taking care of business, like, amazing. It kind of reminds me in a different way of this past week's Monday Night Football game, where, we talked about, you've mentioned it almost every week lately, talking about the announcer's curse, because they were talking about how, the Bengals are up like 17-3, whatever it was, over the Steelers. And the Bengals, man, they just haven't been a second half team. And even though they're up by, almost 10, 14 points, you can't feel too good about it. And then, of course, they just choked it away.
Well, I believe our title for our Bengals episode was the perfect example of that. It's conservative Marvin. He literally is like, oh, I'm up by 2 scores. It's time to sit on my laurels and hope my defense can do its job, and I'll just run the clock out. And no, two scores in this league, we've seen 2 scores vanish in a matter of minutes.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes seconds. That's why the hoodie over there in New England is always just trying to pound as many points down your face as he can.
Absolutely. That is for sure. I would like to call out a disgruntled part of this game, right? One of my lowlights. Frustrated that we didn't actually get in field goal position at the end of the game to make something happen. But dude, why are we booing the team at the end of the fourth quarter? Like, the Lambeau faithful are booing the Packers when Hundley just went down and had a drive where the refs, I think, totally gypped Jordy Nelson. I totally think he had that first down. He literally drove the field, put up the field goal, tied the game so that we were in it. And then you ended up booing him just because he only had 36 seconds to work with to get at least in field goal range. That's not fair. Like, don't be booing the team. Boo the team because they had 9 yards in 3 series. That you can boo the team for, but don't boo them at the end of the game. I mean, they did their job. It's 2020.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later. We have some listener feedback that touches on it, but I don't understand the booing myself. And even if they are, say, booing the coaches and the coaching decisions, it's still got to affect the team hearing the home crowd boo, because that's not what Packers fans are known for. I could picture when things go south in Philly, that booing, it just comes with the territory up there. But yeah, I don't get it either, Troy.
They started on the Packers 30, 35-yard line for that final drive. I mean, I'm playing conservative if I'm the coach, because I don't want Hundley to turn over the ball. You turn over the ball on 35, they get one play, boom, field goal, game over. And your season's over at that point, because you have to win in order to keep going. So I think, it would have been nice to have seen him at least get somewhere close enough to have Crosby have like a 60-yard field goal chance kind of thing. But I'm not going to boo because I didn't get there.
No.
I just didn't get that. And then they're all like, "Yay, we won the coin toss. We're going to defer." Oh, wait.
Oh, please, let's not.
I was waiting for it to slip out by accident.
Or the coin didn't flip, or some other nonsense
Something
that
weird.
always seems to affect us. Coin tosses. They should get more like a dice from Dungeons and Dragons instead of a coin.
12-sided die for sure.
Yes.
So I want to know, what kind of Hundley do we expect to see against Cleveland? Because we had passing Hundley against the Steelers. We had running Hundley against Tampa Bay, because he sure didn't pass the ball at all. I mean, but the first series, you have the chance to go up 7, and Geronimo is wide open,
man.
And you missed that throw. I mean, come on. This is what, week 6 that he's been playing now? Like, this isn't, I'm a rookie and I'm new to the NFL and this is the first real live game. You've been in 6 weeks and you can't hit that guy on a post route?
This was just like how things were going, 4 games ago, we were talking about that, not seeing the open receivers.
Yeah, and then he's not seeing the open receivers, because then he's throwing that deep ball to Jordy twice in this game. Like, dude, there's a second safety back there. You got to throw the deep ball to the sideline, not down the middle. The only way you throw it down the middle is if you know he has both defenders completely beat. You don't throw it when the guy is still standing 10 yards behind your other guy. You're going to get intercepted every time, and that's what happened.
And we can't have that. We need no turnovers. We don't have that room for error. And to answer your question from just a minute ago, what kind of Hundley are we going to get this week in Cleveland? I don't know what happened in the Steelers game. It was kind of an apparition. I think we're going to get the running Hundley again. And if that gets us first downs, I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's the Hundley I prefer to see, actually. It's to get the running game going, and then eventually you're going to get like those short screen passes to take flight, and then you may get a 15 to 20-yard pass down the field here or there. But I would like to see a nice control, game manage clock. Just keep it on the ground, time of possession, 40 minutes, own the game. I think that's the way to go.
Because it's definitely clear that we, the Packers, do not need to be that team that lets the Cleveland Browns get their first victory.
Dude, we're considered announcers. Just shh.
I'm just saying, there's no overlooking anybody, with or without Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly right. What was going on between the 25 and the 35 on the Packers sideline?
Black ice on the field?
In that south end zone. I mean, holy cow. It was like Slip Fest 10. I can't even describe it. Everybody was falling down.
Well, you leave the sprinklers on all night, you forget that section, and it's just a mess.
I mean, I know you guys had some wind out there in California. We had some wind here in Chicago over the last couple of days. Maybe the wind was just blowing them over. I have no idea.
There's something mysterious happening. Maybe it leads to the upside down.
But a W is a W. And so we have completed game 1 of our 8-game playoff stretch.
Yes, especially since every other game we needed to go our way did, except for one. So things were really falling in our favor. Come on, Eagles. You choose this week to choke.
I think it won't be the last week either, the Eagles choke. I think this will be their slide downward. And you're going to see the Saints and the Vikings be battling it out for the number 1 and number 2, in my opinion.
Oh, my goodness. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I was surprised at how everything was just kind of falling into place for us. It was pretty good. Mm-hmm. It was like then the Falcons fall, and it was just a lot of fun to see how everything was going to come out. So this week, I'm trying to remember who we're supposed to be voting for. We're voting for, oh my goodness.
Well, we're voting for the Packers.
And we're voting basically for the Falcons, right? The Falcons have to lose 2 more.
Right. Whoever plays the Falcons, root for those people, no matter who they are.
Yeah, because I think everything else is going to kind of flush itself out no matter what. I mean, we have to end up tied with Carolina, and we have to beat them, obviously. So that'll happen because by the time we play them, they should lose 1 more, and then they'll be 10-6. The Lions will be disastrous, so they'll fall out of contention because they'll lose another game at least between now and then. Oh wait, that's one of those is to us, so they'll be at 9-7 at best.
Woohoo!
So just by the rate of who we're playing and the way things are going, I think we'll be all set. It's really Atlanta at this point. Atlanta has to lose 2 more, and they're still playing. Who is it? They're playing the Panthers. They're playing the Saints, and they were playing somebody else. They have a potential to lose to. So. Yeah, I think it's doable. I think everything's lining up for us. So win 1 more, and then A-Rod takes us the rest of the way.
Run the table again.
Run the table squared. Run the table Series 2.
Talking about Series 2, let's check in with the G-Force. We got some listener feedback, some fresh new voices this week, all sorts of great thoughts and talking points for us. Let's kick it off in Texas.
This is Kim McKinney from Stafford, Texas. I was born and raised a Cheesehead. I was born in Wisconsin, and I just want to say, go, Pack, go. I will always support the Packers, and thank you for all you do to support the Packers.
Awesome to hear from you, Kim. Thank you so much for giving us a call at 920-3PACK-GO. Always support your Packers. That's how you do it, Troy.
For clarity, though, just like in the United States, where you have to be a natural-born citizen and 35 years old to be the president of the United States, you do not have to be a natural-born citizen of Wisconsin, because Wayne is not born from Wisconsin.
Not so that I know of.
You are still a natural-born cheesehead, so you don't have to be from Wisconsin to qualify. Just so everybody's clear. But it's cool that Kim's from Wisconsin originally, because that's where I'm from.
There you go. And then she went all the way down to Texas, Stafford, Texas. That's a changing climate every winter. That's for sure.
I love the Texas fans.
Oh, absolutely.
Texas fanatics. Anybody that does not cheer for Jerry Jones in Texas is a friend of mine.
That alone is a beautiful thing. Oh, let's check in on another fresh voice, I believe, Troy.
Hey, this is Jackson calling in from Kansas City, Missouri, and one of the lone Packer fans here. But I know I just got done watching the game. It was an amazing game for our running backs, both Jones and Williams. Huntley really struggled. The offense really struggled in the second half, but defense bend didn't break. Dean Lowry with a huge sack and a huge fumble 6. And with Atlanta losing, if Seattle loses tonight, we're just a game back of the wild card. And with Cleveland next week, the possibility of Aaron Rodgers just got really 10 times more likely coming back than it was before this game. So I'm very impressed with them, and as always, go Pack, go.
Now, you're not the only fan there, Jackson, in Kansas City, because I heard that our friend Rob, who lives in that area, he said the Chiefs are just falling apart so much in this later half of the season that he's willing to defect and come on over to Green Bay.
That is breaking news.
I don't know if he's really saying that, but he should, because that would make more sense than cheering for Kansas City.
Well, he was at Lambeau Field a couple of years ago on that rainy night that we were all there.
That's right. We got on TV.
And almost got our heads taken off by that spider cam that flies around. We weren't ducking in that little clip that we're in. We weren't ducking because of the rain. We were ducking for our lives.
The camera was coming in so fast.
Oh.
No. Yeah, wild card is definitely on the table as long as we can put another one in the coffin against the Browns on Sunday. So keep cheering and live the dream. Live the dream.
So good to hear from you, Jackson. And talking about the bend, don't break. What's the best way to describe that?
Give up 400 yards and still don't lose.
Wow, that's it in a nutshell, eh?
If you give up 400 yards, you should lose the football game. So luckily, that was not the case this week.
That's because in overtime, all of a sudden we woke up and there was runs all over the place.
Oh, it was so magical. So magical.
Especially after the rest of the fourth quarter. It was just unbelievable. I'm looking at it, I'm watching, I'm like, oh, it's already over. Wow.
Oh, it reminded me of the Cincinnati overtime game where it was like we just let him climb back in and then boom, we got the ball and down the field and done.
So we were just kind of toying with him?
Yeah, this must be the year that we win overtime games, which is good because we get to the overtime in the playoffs, and that always seems to be our demise with Aaron Rodgers. So I think this is all setting us up for something magical to happen in that NFC Championship game in overtime where we actually win and go to the Super Bowl.
Troy, you get 2 thumbs up from me for that.
Hey guys, it's Jay from Southern California. I just finished watching the highlights since we didn't get the game here on the West Coast. Anyway, good overall win. Brett keeps getting better and better. I can't understand why him and Jordy can't get on the same page, though. They need to get that hookup going. But they handled the pressure, no problem, got the win, and looking forward to keeping on winning. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go indeed, Jay. And I'll tell you exactly why they're not on the same page with Jordy Nelson, because where Jordy Nelson is streaking down the field for those long passes, what I think Jordy Nelson's new role is, he's the Donald Driver. In the Brett Hundley offense, I think he should be the Donald Driver. He is the slot guy who is guaranteed to catch the ball on third down on those short passes. I think they're just utilizing Jordy the wrong way in the Brett Hundley setup. I think they really need to focus on him staying short. And if you're going to send somebody, I think you send a Geronimo or somebody like that down the field. But I think you need a sure-handed person to be in the short, 5 to 10 yard gap kind of situation, because then Hundley can check down to Jordy. I know that doesn't sound like that's the right thing to do, being Jordy Nelson, but I think for Hundley, that's probably the best way to utilize good old number 87 there in the short term.
Do you think if they had even more practices together and worked on building a chemistry that it could go back to being a little bit more like how it is with Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson?
I don't think he's got the accuracy. I think the best thing about Jordy is that he has the timing with Aaron to know the back shoulder throws. I mean, that's an Aaron and Jordy thing that they've worked on for years.
True.
Right? So to make that happen with Brett, who's not that accurate to begin with, and the fact that he's always throwing at the spot rather than before the spot or releasing the ball before the receiver gets there. I mean, that's the stuff you need for Jordy to be successful on the outside. So if you want to get Jordy involved, I say put Jordy in the short game, and that way you have sure hands for him to check down to, because we've checked down a few times and the sure hands haven't been there, and that's why we end up running to 3rd and 2, running to 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, and then we can't convert because we don't have a sure-handed person to get those 2 yards.
Ah, good point, Troy. Hey, whatever works and gets us those wins. Like you said, a W is a W, ugly or not. Let's stay here in smoky, windy Southern California and check in with Andre.
As always, I want to say go Pack go. Big fan of the podcast. Super excited after this victory. I'm hoping that we can get another victory next week. It's starting to feel like Run the Table 2.0. Especially if we look like we have a really consistent run game right now with Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones, especially if they can stay healthy. The defense is looking great. Blake Martinez, Dean Lowry, and Clay Matthews had an incredible game. It was a collective effort. If we can just get Aaron Rodgers back, I think we can run the table and we'll be the one team nobody wants to play in the playoffs. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Green and gold until I'm dead and gold. This is Andre in LA. Go Pack go.
Andre, thanks again for giving us a call at 920-3-PACK-GO. Great to hear from you. And all this wind and smoke. Jay, Andre, wow, what a crazy month. We just need some rain and some more Packers victories. I love the Run the Table 2.0. And thanks for mentioning Blake Martinez, because he did have some bright spots in that game as well.
He's got a bright season. Blake Martinez, I mean, you almost are like, hey, that number 50 reminds me of an A.J. Hawk playing that middle linebacker position. Mm-hmm. So Blake Martinez might be like an A.J. 2.0.
We'll take that. We'll take any 2.0s that are of good things.
And I can't believe the emergence of this running game. I mean, surprisingly, it took Aaron Rodgers getting hurt for us to go, holy crap, we actually have a running game. So I think this is a way to just kind of smoke and mirror and hide the operation, to say, hey, look, we'll get the running game kind of cemented, then Aaron will come back, and then we'll have all the facets, because the defense seems to be firing on all cylinders, still giving up a little bit of yards in the cornerback situation, but that, again, is due to injury. So we'll figure that out. We'll sure it up, and I mean, it's a playoff caliber team once we get Aaron Rodgers back behind center.
Yeah, especially with so many of the other teams in the NFC that started the season so strong and are faltering lately, like the Falcons, and the Eagles had a slip up and some others. So why not? It matters how you play in December, and with Aaron Rodgers coming back, it's if this goes according to plan, Troy, they have to make a movie about this season.
Oh, they absolutely do, because I don't know how you can survive some of those games that Hundley lost, like the Saints or the Ravens, or even almost this one, and go, and this team won the Super Bowl. That's an NFL film written right there, I tell you.
Yeah, one game at a time. It could happen. Anything can happen. And Aaron Rodgers, being at practice and just showing that he can still throw the ball, obviously, and he's keeping himself in shape and he's got the dexterity. It looks like he never left. So we'll have to see what he's like in a game. I have a suspicion that we'll find a way to watch that Panthers-Packers game. They better not hurt him. They better be nice to AR-12.
That's right.
But we'll talk more about that next week.
Wayne and Troy, Art from Texas here. A great victory for the Pack Attack. I just had a on what you all thought. Awesome Jamal Williams, awesome Aaron Jones. What do you guys think will happen when Ty Montgomery comes back healthy? Y'all think they should rotate all three of them, or do you think they'll keep Jamal and Aaron Jones as their top two and maybe get Ty Montgomery to be maybe a slot receiver, or maybe he's big enough for tight end? Also, what do you guys think about Jordy Nelson? I love Jordy Nelson, but do y'all think the emergence of Devontae Adams is gonna limit more of Jordy's role? Do y'all think that Devontae's a new Jordy Nelson, or I mean, it'd be great, to keep all of them and healthy, playing 100%. But what do y'all think? Thanks a lot. Green and gold till I'm dead and cold. Go Pack, go!
Go Pack, go! Art. And I hate to do it, but spoiler alert. What do we think about Ty Montgomery when he comes back? I think it'll be a new season because he's not coming back this year.
Well, that's true. He's not coming back this year at all, but it's almost an embarrassment of riches at running back. And, man, when you think back to the beginning of the season, not only is the entire team totally different than what we thought it would be because of Aaron's injury, but just our running game alone is the exact opposite of what was planned.
Yeah, I mean, night and day difference. And unfortunately, spoiler alert for the injury report, but Ty Montgomery's on IR now, so that's not gonna be an issue. So it's the Williams and Jones show going forward, and I think that's a really great two-back tandem to be having there, especially with Ripkowski leading the way. Do some wishbone stuff. Oh man, yum yum yum! Eat that up all day.
Yeah, if you get Rip out there doing, like you've talked about before, Troy, some lead blocks, there's nothing that can stop these running backs from getting us first downs and touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, run that wishbone because, man, all of a sudden it'll be, are they running right? Are they running left? Where are they going? Get the play action involved. This could be a really exciting offense to see what McCarthy does with it if Aaron comes back.
3 words, Troy.
When he comes back.
When he comes back. 3 words. Run to daylight.
Run the table. Run is the key word. Run.
To do run.
Our good friend Steven's checking in, though, from the email box here inside enemy territory in Palos Park, Illinois. And I said, I'm happy today because the Packers won and, the Bears lost. It's always fun. Now it'll be time to move ahead and look towards the Cleveland Browns. And I still have some hope that the Packers can win out. Looks like Aaron Rodgers should be back by that point, but completely healed is the question. You have to wonder if John Fox is regretting taking this Bears job, as the 2 prior teams he coached had winning seasons and taken 2 different teams to the playoffs. And he's not taken the Bears to the playoffs once.
Not going to happen.
I have got to wonder if John Fox gets fired by the Chicago Bears after the last game against the Vikings in Week 17 Will he be able to convince another team's general manager that he is a better head coach than what he has shown these past 3 seasons with the Bears? What say you, Wayne?
I say those are deep questions from deep inside enemy territory. I never know what the Bears are going to do. I actually thought they were going to be better this year than they were. But I don't know what's happening with John Fox. And, of course, we saw the craziness that happened with the Giants coaching and general manager situation this week. And now Eli Manning's their starting quarterback again. You never know. Coaching is just so wacky.
Man, if I am Eli Manning, I am suing everybody in that organization for breaking my start streak record.
When you look at it, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would have the second longest NFL quarterback streak of all time, but greatly behind Brett Favre, but still to make it as far as he did is pretty amazing.
Yeah. If I was him, I'd be pissed off. I'd be asking for my release at the end of the season and go somewhere else. Because that's a disgruntled employee, whether you give me my job back or not.
Yeah, he's keeping it pretty classy, though. I give him props for that because, man, they really did him wrong. What a week. And coincidentally, now he's the starting quarterback again.
But because the coach that didn't want him isn't there anymore.
Coincidence? I don't think so.
I think not.
So, Steven, as far as John Fox, I wonder if he could talk them into letting him stay for one more year while they build up Trubinsky and try to build it more of a team around him next year. What do you think, Troy?
I think no coach is successful in Chicago because when you have owners that meddle, you have teams that flounder. Dallas.
We got to clear this out.
Yeah, flu season, I tell you.
Oh, also got another email here. Hey, Packers family. Caleb from Merrill, Wisconsin. I just wanted to say I am proud of my Green Bay Packers. That was a phenomenal win. I'm very proud to be a Packers fan. Everybody played great, and I must say, go Pack Go. Bleed green and gold till dead and cold. Caleb Fisher, thank you so much for the email. It was a great win because we need every win we can get. I don't know if I'd go as far, Troy, as to say that everybody played great, but
yeah, I mean, the cornerback still had a situation. I mean, look at the first two passing plays that started out the drive for Tampa Bay. They go out to the right-hand side, and you have the cornerback is running with the outside receiver, but then the running back comes out from behind, and he comes out on the sideline there on the right-hand side, and there's nobody covering the running back. Like, the linebacker's got to pick that up, or the cornerback's got to stay and let the receiver go to the free safety help. I just don't understand. Like, both same play twice in a row, and both times guys wide open for 10 yards. Like, head scratcher.
But at the same time, I do totally agree with Caleb that we are definitely proud to be Packers fans and proud of the Packers because even with those issues on the field with some of those plays, it really seemed like the Packers were playing as a team. There was a bit of magic in the air at Lambeau Field. There were the Lambeau leaps. Everybody's getting Lambeau leaps for the first time and just doing great. And I don't know what all those people were that were standing in the end zone that were kind of in the way of some of the Lambeau leaps so nobody could get some speed. But
yeah, those corners were pretty crowded, I have to say.
Yeah, they're like weaving in and out of people. It's like general admission at the Roxy in Hollywood. I don't know what was going on, but they still made it. So you got to do what you got to do, Troy. Rock on. Now,
well, the general admission's open at the poll every single Monday.
True dat. Oh, we had our weekly Twitter poll because we like to have one once a week and put it in our Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com as well. This week, I had to get the pulse of the fans, Troy, by asking how many of the remaining 4 regular season games do you think our Packers will win?
I'm shocked. I'm shocked at these numbers.
Shocked that 59% of the Packers fans said we will win all 4 games. Go Pack Go.
If Aaron Rodgers wasn't throwing the football and practice on Saturday, do you think that number would have been different?
Maybe slightly, but we do believe in our team. We still have the confidence that we can win. And knowing that Aaron Rodgers is coming back definitely gives us a bit more confidence. 18% of the folks that voted said we will win 3 of the 4 games.
Those are the realistic people.
I take it that's where Troy's vote landed.
That Vikings game, man. Oh, man, that Vikings game.
But don't forget the Vikings always choke. Now, sometimes, granted, they do wait till the championship game or even the Super Bowl to choke, but they always choke eventually.
That Vikings game makes me nervous.
It should make us nervous, that's for sure, especially being on a Saturday night. It's going to be totally different.
In Minnesota.
Yeah. Don't flash back to last year, Troy.
Christmas weekend. I mean, just think of all the kids whose hearts will be broken if we lose. Santa didn't bring me a victory.
There is no way that's going to happen.
Yeah, hopefully it's Christmas magic. That's what we're hoping for.
Santa will be... What if at the end of that game, if everything goes according to plan, at the end of that game, Santa is handing out playoff ticket vouchers?
That would be nice. I could buy a couple of those.
And pack some extra long underwear and those things you crack and put into your sleeves to try to keep you warm.
Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets. And we're not talking about the kind that Hurley threw at Benjamin Linus.
No.
Back to the poll. Lost. Still the best. 15% voted that we will win only half of the 4 games. That makes me nervous.
Speaking of lost.
There you go. And 8%, lost number, said we're only going to win one of the 4. I'm like, I don't see how on earth we could only win one of the 4.
I think those were Bears fans trying to get into our poll.
Shame on them. Or Ben DeBono and Terry Daniel and other Vikings fans snuck in to try to make a statement. I'm not sure. But there's your weekly Twitter poll. Follow us on Twitter at PackersFanPod for next Monday's Twitter poll, or join our Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com.
And some replies to the Facebook Twitter poll as well. Over on Twitter, Brett Connor said, I'm feeling optimistic. We will beat the Browns next weekend. Air 12 will come back and run the table right through to February.
Love it, Brett, especially mentioning going all the way through February, because you know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl. And Caleb
It
Fisher
will be at.
still trying to save those pennies. We'll have to find a way. Caleb Fisher replied, in Hundley we trust. Just believe, my Packers family. We can do this. Can I get a Go Pack Go?
Go Pack Go.
These are exciting times.
But they are. You know what's even more exciting?
What?
Injury reports.
What's exciting about the injury report other than next week, apparently Aaron Rodgers won't be on it?
Aaron Rodgers is not on the injury report, but he's still technically, I think, listed on the IR because until he gets that 8-week mark, he doesn't actually come off the IR. He's just on a in-between phase.
Right.
So we got here, let's take a look for Wednesday's practice. Kenny Clark was a full participant, so that was good.
That's
good.
great.
Devon House, unfortunately, still did not participate, so cornerback's looking a little thin. Dimitri Goodson did not participate as well. So we just got to get everybody back up and healthy. Poor Nick Perry and Jake Ryan, also non-participants in practice today. So hopefully that'll just resolve itself because Nick Perry played pretty decently on Sunday, so he's probably just a little banged up. But take a day off and we'll be good to go.
I'm looking forward to all of them coming back. Hoping.
The big 3 on the Cleveland side of the house, obviously Buddy Calhoun is a non-participant today, as well as Jabril Peppers. So those are 2 big secondary people that are out for the Browns, and that bodes well for maybe some passing situations with Mr. Hundley this week. Also, Kenny Britt was a limited participant, their big wide receiver out there in Cleveland land.
What's with all of the knee issues that they've got going on?
I know. A knee here, a knee there, everywhere a knee there.
Those are hard to come back from. I mean, saying they did not participate, that's going to be pretty iffy if we're going to see them on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, since we last talked to you guys, I wanted to let you know that wide receiver Michael Clark signed to the active roster from the practice squad because Ty Montgomery, as we mentioned, was placed on injured reserve for the remainder of the season. So I think that gives you your answer right there. When we place a running back on injured reserve, but promote a wide receiver, that we are pretty happy with the running back situation we have going right now.
And it may also be a sign that we may be getting a more accurate quarterback back pretty soon, that who knows if Michael Clark might need to be pulled up.
Now, coming off of the PUP list, yep, you might remember Dimitri Goodson was a cornerback on the PUP list from early on. So he is back from the reserve, physically unable to perform, and did not participate in practice today. But Dimitri will be back, and because of that, we had to make a roster spot. So onto the injury reserve goes one Kevin King.
That's unfortunate.
That hurts. But, Dimitri wasn't a bad player. So hopefully get Dimitri back in there, get Devon House a little healthier. Then our secondary will be a little bit more stable for the final push into January.
Hey, all hands on deck, ladies and gentlemen. If you're wearing green and gold, be ready.
Well, Rodgers did return to practice on Saturday in the walkthrough before playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, officially receiving the team's final return designation from IR. He isn't medically cleared to practice in full, but will get more drill work this week. Only a few practice periods were open to the media on Wednesday, but it was enough to see Rodgers throw against air to his receivers. He showed good zip on his passes, especially on his out routes to the sideline, matching reports teammates previously shared. His most impressive pass, though, during the open session was a high-arching ball that Rodgers unleashed 55 yards, dropping it on a dime to Trevor Davis down the left sideline.
I like the sound of that.
So Rodgers is playing on the scout team while Mr. Hundley has the ones. So we'll just let that keep playing itself out for another week or two, and we'll be ready to go for Carolina.
And you're not going to the Carolina game this year, so you can hear the fans say, "We must protect the nest," or whatever they say.
Let's protect this house.
This house, yeah. That's right. They don't have a nest. That was the Cardinals. Never mind.
That was the game you were at.
Yeah, I'm so confused. Which games were we at?
But the game we won't be at is the 2021 Super Bowl, because where you said we need some rain out in California, the NFL is thinking, yeah, we could probably use a little bit less of it. So the 2021 Super Bowl has actually been moved by the NFL from Los Angeles to Tampa Bay, the runner-up.
Lame.
5 days after the opening of the $2.6 billion football stadium in Inglewood, California, it was pushed back to 2020 because construction delays caused by Los Angeles' uncommonly wet winter.
Allegedly.
Yes. League owners approved the move on Tuesday. Owners voted unanimously to give the February 2021 game to Tampa. And then the Rams and Chargers' new home will host 2022 Super Bowl. So the NFL would have needed to waive a rule that prohibits a Super Bowl being played at a stadium before it hosted 2 full regular seasons. Instead, it chose to move the game to Tampa instead of waiving the rule and giving it up to the runner-up in Tampa Bay rather than trying to change things. So, yes, 2021 will now be Tampa Bay, and then 2022 will be in LA. So we got plenty of time to save our pennies now for that one.
There is something strange going on. I mean, granted, last year we did have slightly more rain than we normally get, but it was definitely not enough to push back construction on a major NFL stadium. I don't know if they hired the low bidders and they just didn't show up on time, but this whole thing just stinks.
It's all government work.
It's just terrible. There's no excuse. There's no reason this couldn't still be on schedule. And wow, 2022 just sounds so far away.
I think the San Diegans were coming up and tampering with stuff, trying to prevent the Chargers from actually playing in the new place.
They might have been, and now look at the LA Chargers are on fire. The LA Rams are on fire. Coincidence?
I think not.
So anyway, the part that, in all seriousness, concerns me is by the 2022 Super Bowl, of course, our Packers would love to be in that game, but will we realistically still have Aaron Rodgers playing quarterback for us that far into the future?
Let's see. That's less than 8 years, so yes.
Okay. Well, there you go. I feel better already, Troy. Continue.
The owners' meeting today also, the NFL's compensation committee informed owners in a memo that neither of us got, but they informed the owners in a memo Wednesday that Commissioner Roger Goodell has signed a contract extension. The New York Times reported that Goodell's extension is for an additional 5 years and is worth up to $200 million if all incentives are met.
Wait,
and bonuses
$1 million?
granted.
$200 million?
$200 million. Yes, for an additional 5 years. So you do the math there.
What kind of bonuses does a commissioner get?
I have no idea.
Incentives.
Bring back touchdown celebrations. Check. Here's $100 million.
Oh, wow. That's unbelievable. And, every year at the NFL draft, people love to boo Roger Goodell, and he gets booed quite frequently by NFL fans. I'm not sure exactly what's behind all of that, but the fact that 5 more years he'll be at the draft, because this year it was kind of funny seeing him at the NFL draft. It was in Philly, right? And they were really booing, and he's out there going, "Yeah, come on, give me your best, bring it on." Right.
It's like a love-hate relationship with the fans and Roger because according to the memo, the extension was signed by Goodell and the Atlanta Falcons owner Arthur Blank, who heads the league's compensation committee. The memo cited that it was a nearly unanimous consensus among NFL owners who supported finalizing the deal. So the fans don't like him, but the owners, they love Roger.
Okay. Well, 5 more years. 5 more years.
With that, it's time to look ahead to the Browns.
It's coming. It's coming. It's going to happen. How on earth are we going to beat the Browns? Do you have keys to the game yet again this week?
You're going to go to Cleveland and purchase a $35 ticket to sit in the nosebleeds. $35. That is the cheapest NFL ticket I've ever heard in my life.
Last season, near the end of the Rams' bad opening season in LA, there were some games there's no really good seats at the Coliseum, but some tickets were $16.
Whoa, that's pretty low.
There's high school games that charge more than that, but
I can't even see Star Wars for $35.
That's true. But that would be a good game to go to if you can attend it, but you better bundle up.
All right, with that, keys to the game. Are we ready?
I'm ready because I've heard rumblings that you've got some really good ones this week.
All right, number 1. Do not attend the 76ers at Cavaliers game on Saturday night.
What does that have to do with it?
Number 2, Lake Erie is not a sea, so stay away from eating any seafood this weekend.
Oh, that's always good advice. Night before a game.
Number 3, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is for after the Packers win. So celebrate by going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not before.
That's a good incentive right there.
Number 4, the play is Blue 32, not Bar 32, which you can find at the Hilton Hotel downtown if you are actually going to the game. But if you're a Packer player, it's Blue 32, not Bar 32.
Good advice.
And number 5, just don't underestimate the Cleveland Browns.
No.
Okay, we kid. Yes, there's still some keys to this game, but those are some good advice because that's what would happen if any other team was coming to town and overlooking the Cleveland Browns. Because, Wayne, did you know that 4 games this year, the Cleveland Browns lost those only by 3 points? And one of those games was against Pittsburgh. Which is exactly what we did. Lost by 3 points. Now, the Bungles destroyed the Cleveland Browns twice this year. And I think there was a Packers team that needed an overtime win to beat the Bungles. And that was with Aaron Rodgers. So take that for what it's worth. So definitely a team that has potential to be a upsetter, especially when you're still looking for your first win. Now, defensive backs, as I mentioned, Bodie Calhoun and Jabril Peppers didn't practice on Wednesday. Coach Hugh is hopeful at least one of them will be ready for Sunday's game against the Packers, but this could give the running game a rest this week because 200 yards, got to save some for the postseason there, guys. The running game needs a rest, so maybe we get a little passing game going, kind of work that all into the package and get the real game plan that we need for Carolina. But it'll be a fun outing for Hundley and hopefully his final performance of 2017.
I like the sound of that. And I also like the sound of us maybe getting some passing yards going so that the running backs can rest for Carolina. I like that, Troy. Good keys to the game. And the earlier advice, that goes for fans as well as players of the Green Bay Packers.
If anybody is going to Bar 32 because you're in town for the Cleveland game, take us a picture and send it. Love to see it.
Thank you very much. Send that to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com or just Tag us on Twitter at PackersFanPod.
Or post it at PackersCommunity.com.
Or do all three. It's called a trifecta.
Why not?
And now it is time for highlights from the official Packers dope sheet for Week 14's Packers at Browns game. And of course, we've got the full, beautifully documented thing that the Packers put together, linked at PackersFanPodcast.com/148. The 6-6 Green Bay Packers, which doesn't sound all that great, but we do head out on the road to play the 0-12 Cleveland Browns Sunday at 12 noon Central. Now, it's the first time since 2009 that Green Bay will finish the regular season with 3 of the 4 final games being on the road.
That's tall order.
I don't like the sound of that. But the Packers have won 4 of the last 5 against Cleveland, and it is Green Bay's first regular season trip to Cleveland since 2009 when we won 31-3.
Yeah, that was the score I picked.
And there it is. We'll take it. The Packers are 6-4 at the Browns, including wins in 3 of the last 4 times. And next week, of course, Green Bay will travel to Charlotte to play the Carolina Panthers. Either the Packers from 2014 and 2016 or the Panthers in 2015. These 3 have made it to the NFC Championship game each of the last 3 seasons. So
true statement.
Well, I hope so, because if it's in the dope sheet from the Green Bay Packers, it better be true. Such as this notable connection. Linebacker Jake Ryan is from Cleveland. Green Bay defensive coordinator Dom Capers was born in Cambridge, Ohio, attended high school in Buffalo, Ohio, and coached defensive backs at Ohio State, the Ohio State, from 82 to 83. And Green Bay special teams coordinator Ron Zook grew up in Loudonville, Ohio, and coached defensive backs at the Ohio State from 88 to 90. So I don't know if that will help us win, but if it will, I'll take it. So be sure to get ready with the full official Green Bay Packers dope sheet for this game at PackersFanPodcast.com/148. Now that it is December, Troy, are things getting chilly in Cleveland and everywhere else?
Oh, Cleveland is on the lake. So 27 degrees Fahrenheit at kickoff. So bundle up, especially if you're in the nosebleeds, because it will be windy, much like Chicago. So if you've been to a Chicago game at Soldier Field up there in the 400s, that's about what it'll feel like if you're going to the Packers game in Cleveland. So hot pockets, hot pads, long underwear. And if you wear your orange hunting gear, you'll just blend into the seat, and they might not know you're there. Someone might sit on top of you. So just be careful there. Public service announcement.
We now return to your Packers Fan Podcast, already in progress. Great advice, Troy. How do you see the score shaking out this week? Because the game this past week was a lot closer than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, not quite 31-3 as it was back in 2009, but I'm going to say Packers 27 because there'll be at least one defensive touchdown in this contest, and the Browns will put up 10.
Wow, that's a substantial victory.
Well, it'll be a late fourth quarter gimme touchdown.
No overtime.
No overtime this week. Dear God, no.
We can't take it anymore. 27-10. I like it, Troy. I'm similar, but not quite as optimistic with our offense with Brett Hundley on the road. We do win, though. 20-9. Gonna get a Go Pack Go.
9 times.
9 Go Pack Goes?
Exactly.
So either way, we are hoping for a Packers victory and not many points from the Browns because that will make us feel a lot better. Now, as they say during the Christmas season, Troy, do you hear what I hear? So many MVPs everywhere. We have Patreon thanks going out to our MVP supporters. Alex J., thanks for supporting the show at the $1 Curly Lambo monthly level.
And newcomer Bryant, welcome. It's Favre-tacular of you to join us this month, taking the MVP patronage support page and picking up a $4 a month plan. Thank you so much, Bryant.
Awesome stuff. As is Jeff Summerfield, taking MVP to the Patreon support page, helping us out also at the $4 a month Brett Favre level.
Diane's still out there contributing just like Brett Favre did all those years at the $4 level. Thank you very much, Diane.
And supporting the show, rain or shine. Thanks for your far for Patreon support to the Texas-only Green Bay Packers Fanatics Facebook group. You rock.
And welcome superfan Aaron Peterson, living in his maker's glory, showing respect to the good old number 4 with his Brett Favre level contribution.
Oh, thank you, Aaron. Very kind of you. And Aiden Cassidy, down under, with his Go Pack Go to finish out the show. We greatly appreciate your generous support of the Packers Fan Podcast at the Aaron Rodgers $12 level. That is MVP level stuff. Thanks again, Aiden, and everybody for your support.
And as always, you can make the podcast even better by becoming an MVP Packers Fan Podcast Patreon supporter yourself. Made it really easy on the webpage, PackersFanPodcast.com. Top right-hand corner if you're on the desktop, or just scroll past the show blog posts till you get to the first icon. It'll give you a nice giant P to go ahead and pay us for all the great content we bring you each and every week. So go over to PackersFanPodcast.com/support as well. That'll take you there, and then you can make the podcast even better, just like Alex, Aiden, Diane, Brian, Aaron, the Texas-only Green Bay Packers fanatics, and Jeff. You guys are all awesome, and thanks so much for your support of the show.
I wholeheartedly agree. Any final thoughts before we head on out from this edition of your Packers Fan Podcast, Troy?
Dear God, just make it better than this week. I know it was fun watching the overtime and Aaron Jones flying through the end zone, and yeah, but you know what? Put these guys away early. Just make it be done by the end of the first quarter so I can just sit easier for the rest of the afternoon.
So that maybe, say, midway through the third quarter, they put in Joe Callahan and some of these other players getting some reps, and everybody else gets to rest for Carolina.
Exactly.
All right. That sounds like a great plan. Because has there been a blowout this year where we've been on the victorious side?
I thought there was one where Aaron Rodgers went out a little early and Hundley came in like for the last couple plays.
But for the most part, the heart attack pack have been on deck.
Always and ready and waiting. It never ends with these guys. It's always fun. So the unofficial Packers Fan Podcast is over and still not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers. If you can make that happen, tell them to email us at media@PackersFanPodcast.com.
And remember to listen to us on the go, like we talked about earlier, our free Packers Fan Podcast apps for iOS and Android. And follow us on Twitter for the weekly Monday Twitter poll, live tweeting during the game, things like that, at Packers Fan Pod. And what the heck, follow me on Twitter too. I'm at Wayne Henderson.
And me, I'm at Troy Heinrichs. Be sure to join our new Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community. Say that 10 times fast. That's over at PackersCommunity.com. That way you can go ahead and talk to each other during the games and share all your fun memes and excitement as well.
And then take a couple minutes out to send us some feedback by going to PackersFanPodcast.com/feedback to get your thoughts in. Let your voice be heard. Keep those conversations going online. And until the next episode of the show, we just want to thank you for listening this time to the Packers Fan Podcast.
Be sure to subscribe at Apple Podcasts so you don't miss an episode, and leave us a rating and review as well if you like the show, because we're going to the Dog Pound, people. We're going to Cleveland to take on the Browns. So let's get excited. Let's cheer along with Aiden. Everybody all together now.
Aiden here saying, go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. Go Pack, go. Go, go, go.